goodness. Alex, alcoholic. Sometimes I refer to myself as a grateful recovering alcoholic, and I think I've come to that realization in AA because I see that alcoholism is a lifetime disease, that a lot of its characteristics are things I possessed as a child, and so that's, I think for me, it's going to be, it's a lifetime journey. I think it's beneficial to me to think of it in those terms, that it's a process that continues daily. So I am 1,485 days sober today, one day at a time. Tony here is my sponsor.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry, but fantastic man. And I love him, and Richard and Patch and Ray and the other people who took chips. That, for me, is what's incredible. One of the things that's incredible about AA is that a stranger can walk into a room of guys that he might be fearful of, might be scared of talking to, thinks he doesn't fit in, but then kind of see all the camaraderie, all the love, and realize, holy shit, I'm home. And it's a wonderful feeling. And so I'm extremely grateful that I found AA fairly late in life, 59 years old at the time, and but extremely grateful and happy. So, I think of this as a club, a group, the best club I ever joined that I never wanted to be a part of. Never could imagine being called an alcoholic, identifying with alcoholics, spending time with alcoholics, and it is just transformed my life. 180 degrees, and it's amazing. So I'm extremely fortunate to be able to call myself an alcoholic and to be able to call myself a member of these rooms. I want to say it's a combination of the program and the fellowship that has kept me sober. I'm a slow worker of the steps. I'm still working them, but for sure staying in the middle of the herd, having the support and the love of all the men in these rooms has given me examples of how to live, and that's been a life changer for me. So how do I start on this journey? Well, of course, there's the addiction to alcohol. For me, I sort of joke that it probably started in the womb. I had a mom who was a heavy drinker, and ever since I was a kid, ever since I could remember, I've basically been afraid of people, been afraid of getting in front of people, not being able to trust people, and so that, I think, is a commonality that I find in the program with a lot of men. There's fear of different sorts. Self-centered fear, for sure, is described in the book, and I identify completely with that. My drinking career was a long, slow developing one. Initially, as a kid, the things I would look back and think of as my alcoholic behavior was my addiction to fear, addiction to risky behavior, trying to fit in ways that were very awkward and didn't work, trying to impress other friends by doing stupid stuff, lighting fires, shooting out lights with BB guns, shoplifting, all of those kinds of things that were giving me an adrenaline rush, and somehow I thought, this will impress impress me in front of other people, and trying to fit in has been a great motivation my entire life, and had really no idea of how to solve that until I came to AA. As I got older, that type of behavior dropped off and changed as I started to drink. As I got older, that really changed more into risky sexual behavior, bad behavior with women, disrespecting women, a whole string of things I look back on now, and I'm sick to look at it and to think that I was somehow thinking of myself as entitled and special at that time in my life. It's very difficult to look back at that now, so wishing to weld that door shut is certainly something that I share. As I got older into my 40s and 50s, my drinking really increased, and by the time I got to my late 50s and joined AA, I was drinking half a bottle of vodka every day, 365 days a year, except on weekends and holidays when I would drink more. And still, at that point, I had no concept of myself as an alcoholic, no view of my behavior as being anything other than acceptable. And I'm just thankful that I did finally find AA, that I finally had the switch in my brain click, that after years of stupid behavior, after years of doing things like driving drunk with my wife and my stepsons in the car, things I look back on, I just horrified at how I did that, how I could have justified that. The episodes with women in my marriage, I had one particular one that I was able to justify, and this is the kind of twisted thinking I had when I was drinking. I was in China on a business trip, and it was my birthday while I happened to be there, and my wife had arranged with the two men who were showing me around and were basically taking me back and forth to the factories. She shared with them that it was my birthday, and as soon as I knew that, I got extremely angry, and I got angry at my wife, and I just, the selfishness in that was, I'm going to blame my wife for all of this. I didn't want to have them know, because I knew what it was going to lead to. And it did lead to what I thought, which was a night of drunken carousing with a whole slew of women that, and when I had the opportunity to turn down the offer of having one come back to my hotel room, I was not able to say no. I said, yeah, sure, that sounds like a good idea. And that's the kind of retarded, ridiculous thinking and behavior that I had gotten myself into. And almost at that point led to my getting divorced, because when I did get back, my wife had, of course, known that I had done something, and she wasn't exactly sure what it was, but she suspected. And that's the thing with women, is they can read through your bullshit like nobody else, and that was extremely painful. Not only having to be caught and apologize for that, but to feel that my life with her was over at that point. And fortunately, she did forgive me ultimately, and we've stayed together another, I want to say, almost 15 years beyond that point. And that's an amazing thing about other people, that some people can be very resilient and persistent in loving you, even when you're giving them no reason to at all. The day before I came to AA for my first time, was a typical Sunday for me, where I'd work around the house and typically be extremely angry the whole time about having to put effort into this nice house that I'm living in with my wife and stepchildren. And so it was easier if I started drinking about 9 in the morning. And that was a pretty typical Sunday for me. I'd start either with vodka, or I'd gin and tonic sometimes. And this particular day happened to be my elder stepson's birthday. And I knew it was his birthday. And I knew that we were going to dinner that night at 6 o'clock. And I knew I'd be expected to be there and to be sober. So I had a really good plan. I thought I'd keep working in the yard, working outside until about 3 o'clock. And I'll keep drinking to 3, and then at that point I could jump in the pool, take a cold shower, drink a lot of coffee, drink a lot of water, and by 5:30 I should be good.
Doesn't work like that.
Yeah, well, you can see where that's going. So that behavior, my wife had been telling me literally for 10 years that I was an alcoholic, and I don't want to live with an alcoholic, and if you keep drinking, I'm going to leave you. And I was like, okay. I drink a lot, but I'm not an alcoholic. So I was in my closet getting dressed, 5:30 or so, or getting ready to go to the restaurant, trying to put on my underwear, and I just fall over backwards on the floor of my closet, and a big thud, and my wife could hear it, from outside the room. She said, "What the hell are you doing in there? Did you fall? Are you drunk? Are you drinking again? Jesus Christ! We're not going with you. You're not coming with us. We're leaving you behind." So I was like, "Okay, all right, go ahead. I'll catch up with you." Brilliant drinking idea was, okay, well, I'm starting to sober up, I think. So I'll just get my own car, and we live in San Gabriel, and the dinner was in Koreatown that night. And I thought, hey, no problem, I'll just drive across town. So, get in my car, still completely looped, start driving as fast as I can, get down to the 10 freeway, get on there, just speeding, thinking, okay, this is smart. And, I went through this whole process of crazy behavior. I got to the restaurant okay, and I was starting to sober up at that point. And being able to sit down, people were already there, the whole family, relatives, probably about 15 people. I walked in, was quiet, just sat at the end of the table, got myself a Coke, didn't say much, and didn't really participate much in that evening with my stepson and his birthday. So it started while I was sitting at the table. The wheels were starting to spin, the switches were starting to click, and for the first time I was able to really start looking at myself as an alcoholic, as an extremely selfish person, somebody who in fact was what my wife was saying, that I was the most selfish person that she ever met. Couldn't comprehend that, and I didn't even fully comprehend it at that point, but now that I'm in AA, I've got a window into that, and it's very, very clear to me now that that was the case. So fortunately, it didn't hurt anybody. It didn't get pulled over, didn't get a DUI. When I got back home that night, started looking for local meetings, and I found a meeting in Pasadena that was close to my office, and Seniors for Sobriety. 1 o'clock, went there, got there a bit early, and that was a wonderful introduction to these rooms, and a start into my life after drinking and selfish behavior. The people there were funny, warm, just extremely welcoming, and initially I still resisted the idea of identifying as being an alcoholic. Even though I got myself there, I was still thinking, I don't think this is what I am, but I do need help, and I need to correct my habits. Gradually, after they kept saying things like, wow, you're really lucky. Do you have a court card for me to sign? It's like, no, no court card. You know, usually people come in here in handcuffs. I'm like, no, you know. But it started sinking in that the kinds of things I was doing really should have ended in some other fashion. But by the grace of God and the persistence of my wife, I did end up here without hurting anybody, without killing anybody, torturing my wife emotionally for a very long time. But other than that, fortunately did not do any physical harm. So, you know, got a number of things about AA that I love, and I've already expressed one, which is just the love and the warmth in these rooms, the wisdom, the way of learning about a whole new way of life, the way of looking at oneself, realizing how defective I've been, and realizing that going forward I can no longer be that way, and having examples like you guys in this room of how to live. I wish I had those examples as a younger person. I wish I had come to AA in my 20s, but I didn't, and I think I let 30 years or more go by where I really should have been here. And it's an amazing thing, and I'm so grateful for AA. I'm so grateful for men like Tony, my sponsor. Perhaps I'm a bit disappointing as a sponsee, taking 4 years to work 4 steps. I will say, I'm slow. I will say that I'm aware at some level of how this is impairing me and impeding my progress. I haven't been drinking. I don't have any interest in drinking, but all of the other underlying fears, focus on myself, all of the obsession with self is still an ongoing struggle, and somehow or another with all that knowledge I still have not finished my steps. So that's something I figured I would at least mention to you so that I can be as honest as possible about that. Things in AA that I find both educational, enlightening, and funny, things I've picked up from men like you, are these types of things that really help me to see who I am and what I am. One of them is I had a problem, I found a solution, alcohol was that solution, until my solution became my problem. That pretty well describes me for the last 30 years of my life. The solution to this condition I have, which is one of powerlessness, which is one of not having spiritual fitness, is a higher power, is God. And along those lines, I love things like God is in charge and he's not confused. I love that one. I'm no longer in management. That one is a good one to keep in mind when I think that I can control events and I can, get things done my way, and realize that just has never been working, and it's certainly not working any longer. So I would say the things that are extremely important to me are to be humble, be of service, be right-sized for the situation, remain teachable, be able to take directions. And a huge one that this guy taught me is to pause before speaking or taking an action. It doesn't really do much good to do it afterwards. That was my method. So honest, open, and willing is now what I try and focus on. Being humble, being grateful, being of service, being useful and grateful, and focusing on my spiritual health. And can we call that a wrap? Coming up on 15?
Call it a wrap.
Yeah, call it a wrap. Thank you.